Reiterating some of the things they're saying. I mean, McAfee, we've always covered from the endpoint all the way up into the cloud, and so I think the awareness of the industry in general that this is an entire continuum is very important at this point in time, and I think also what Gil and everybody said also is how do we make sense of things that are out there,
right?
And how do we filter whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, but the correlation aspect is incredibly important in real time. So it's not just about being able to get data, and we kind of call it the death of the historian.
Okay.
When I'm getting security data previously, you told me what happened to me, great,
right.
That's fantastic.
Right.
But that's kind of like the CSI model.
Right.
If you see that team on site that something bad's happened, some
right.
dude is not having a good day.
Right.
We would much more rather be more like we would rather be proactive and then build for mitigation and resilience, understanding that once you have that quantified risk, that you can actually make some decisions to how to not let the horse
right.
get out of the barn so far.
Right.
So
right. I've been in some discussions about the world we live in, and the idea that we're living in a fifth dimension where time is approaching zero for decision making.
It is.
Where you need to be able in a position to make decisions instantaneously. It's not like we can think about that for a while.
That's right. And it's also, I think that's very important when people say that, it's about actionable. So I think a lot of times we get caught, like you said before, in the esoteric aspects of the plan and all these
right.
other types of things. But how do you get actionable best practices and actionable capabilities delivered to the endpoint? I don't really care what that endpoint is.
Right.
We're owned by Intel now and have been for a few years, going as deep as you can into the silicon to try to get
right.
ahead of this stuff. Beyond that, how do we get the root of trust within the identity itself, so that the person, no matter where they're at, becomes a digital citizen.
Sure.
And we've had this conversation. You were talking about their employees earlier, Gil. How do you keep them from being targeted? That's not just an internal thing. That's an external thing as well.
Sure.
So taking the concept of digital HMOs and how how do I really protect them even when they're not necessarily doing my work all the time, because they potentially become a liability that way as well. So there's just some things like that. So
fascinating.